Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel, and we are back again with another. I look see-through, but there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried everything. But anyway, we're back with another transfer talk show, and it's great to have everybody in. I just want to plug my phone in here now because obviously we're live here on TikTok and I don't want my battery to die. So let's get that charged up here now. Anyway, it's great to be back. Plenty to talk about tonight, guys. Obviously, look, Manchester United, it's a bit of a circus at the moment. Of course it is, and we have plenty to talk about. Look, the main thing we want to talk about tonight, obviously, and what's been breaking over the last maybe 24 hours or so, is Marcus Rashford and the fact that he does or he doesn't want out of Manchester United. Look, we don't know. Obviously, reports initially have suggested that he does want out, he wants a new challenge, blah, blah, blah. Subsequent reports then have suggested that, he doesn't want out, he wants to stay, he wants to fight for his place, he's happy with the manager, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to get into that. Anyway, I want you to all let me know what you think about, first of all, Marcus Rashford. Let me know in the chats below what you think. Should we keep him? Should we get rid of him? Blah, blah, blah. Sean is in straight away on TikTok and says United about to get the sausage. Alright, Sean, that's fair enough. Okay, look, everyone is entitled to their opinion. Let's see what happens. But look, we have plenty to talk about. We've got a lot of reports in relation to maybe updates on potential transfers as well, and of course we're going to talk about whatever you want to let me know in the chat. Sean is only messing. That's okay, Sean. Look, I like a bit of banter, so it's all good in the hood. But look, we have plenty to talk about. CDE is in and says, anybody wants to leave, we should let them go. Absolutely. Look, we're going to get into it. We're absolutely going to get into it. There's nowhere else to start other than Marcus Rashford. And look, of course, reports last night suggested that, PSG were interested in Marcus Rashford. And according to reports about a month ago, there was talks held between Manchester United and PSG in relation to a potential transfer. Now, reports have come out, obviously, since then saying, no, Rashford wants to stay. He wants to fight for his place. He's happy with the manager. And I'm going to take all of that as the truth. I absolutely am going to take it as the truth. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because I think Marcus Rashford leaving Manchester United, given all of the PR he gets outside of Manchester United, and the fact that he has all of the off-field maybe charity work going, Manchester United's PR and Marcus Rashford's PR are basically like that. They're very synced, and not by coincidence, but I think by choice, and I think Marcus Rashford knows that him leaving Manchester United and all of the good work that he's doing, and it is good work, look, we're not here to talk about charity work or anything like that, and I commend him for doing exactly what he's doing, but I think if Marcus Rashford leaves Manchester United, his stature and his maybe pull diminishes an awful lot, especially with a lot of work that he's doing in England. Is basically what he's doing. So look, I think it's a ploy, and I think basically what he's doing is, and I'm not really happy about it. I think the reason why this stuff is coming out is for Marcus Rashford to angle himself towards a new contract. Okay, now he has 1 year left on his contract after this year, and he basically has 2 years left. Manchester United, they do it, and they've done it basically with every player, where they have an option to extend their contract by a further year at the end of their deal. So he basically has 2 years left on his deal, and I think he's angling towards a new deal. Okay, now, in relation to getting a new deal, does he deserve a new deal? Absolutely no fucking way does Marcus Rashford deserve a new deal with Manchester United. And I'm going to tell you why. And there's a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of responses to maybe some of the TikToks I've put up over the last maybe 24 hours or so since this maybe news has broke, that does he deserve a new contract? And I have to say, 80 to 90% of people are saying it's time to let him go. I have to disagree with that. I do have to disagree with it. Okay, he hasn't had the greatest of seasons last year. Okay, he had a very good breakthrough season. And anyone who's listened to my content from the early days will know that not that I'm not a massive supporter of Marcus Rashford, but I don't think he's as good as a lot of people make him out to be. I think he's a good player, and I think United would be a better team with him in the squad. But that's only if he's hitting the top levels that he can actually hit. Now, I think he's maybe, this is my own personal opinion, and I'd like to know what you think in the comments. I think he's a one-trick pony. I think it's a long ball over the top. I think he's in behind the defence, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and a big, hard smash shot. And I'm looking back on old strikers of Manchester United, and we go back to the likes of, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Ruud van Nistelrooy, sniffing around the 6-yard box, getting them tap-ins. I think that's a top-class striker. Because you read the game, you get in there, you know where the ball is going to break. And I don't think Marcus Rashford has that in his locker. And I think that's why over the last maybe 4 or 5 years, he's drifted out towards the left, where he, of course, started as a number 9 when he first broke through with Louis van Gaal. He was the number 9 and he was a saviour, and he was going to be the next, the next Ruud van Nistelrooy or the next Dwight York or Andy Cole or whoever it was. I don't think that's his game. Because I don't think he has the mentality to sniff out 6-yard box goals. You look at Ruud van Nistelrooy, for example. Ruud van Nistelrooy scored, I think it was over 150 goals for Manchester United, and something like 4 or 5 of them goals were outside of the box. Every other goal was inside the 18-yard box. And I think as a number 9, you have to have that in your locker. Now look, I'm disappointed over... If it's true that Marcus Rashford is angling towards a new contract with Manchester United, I'm very disappointed. And I hope to God that Manchester United don't give him a new contract. Because we've seen over the last maybe 7, 8 years that players have got new contracts. But they've got new contracts on the basis of having, and Manchester United having maybe a share value in them, to make money off of them. And I don't agree with that. I think you get a new contract on the basis of performing well, deserving a new contract, and letting the manager and the club know that here's my performances, look what I've done, I deserve a new contract. And I don't think Marcus Rashford deserves that at the moment. So for that reason, look, Manchester United are in a very comfortable position at the moment. They have 2 years left on his contract. So they're in absolutely no panic. They have the option of a further year. And I don't think we should be in any panic to let him go. I certainly don't think we should let him go. I've heard a lot of people saying, cash in, get rid of him. Absolutely. Now, look, I'm always going to give the benefit of the doubt to Manchester United players, especially when they come through the academy. And look, I have no qualms about saying that. I really don't. But when someone comes through the academy and they have the potential that Marcus Rashford has to be a good player, now not a world-class player, but a good player, I think we need to hold him. I think we need to hold on to him. And I think the reason why we need to do that more than anything else is because we are so bloody short up front. We're so short. Martial is injured. Ronaldo doesn't want to be there. Sancho is in his second season. And then we have young players like Garnacho, and Jong is not good enough, blah, blah. We're so short. Now, look, we're looking at Gakpo, obviously, to come in. He's a right-footed left winger, all right, which is basically a replacement for Rashford. Is he as good as Rashford? That remains to be seen. He has very good statistics, but we have to take into consideration that he's in the Eredivisie. Is he going to be able to transfer them kind of statistics to the Premier League? That remains to be seen. I don't think we should get rid of Rashford this summer. I don't think we will. I think United would be absolutely stupid to get rid of him. And I don't think they will. Rashford is going to be here for at least another season. But the one thing I would say, and for anyone who's watched me over the last maybe 3 or 4 months, they will understand what I've said. I've said Rashford has one more season. And I am going to give him one more season. And I'm going to give him the full season. to prove himself that he's good enough for this squad. And I think Erik ten Hag is in the same bracket as that. Look, you have one more season to prove yourself, and if not, we'll move you on next year. And I think he should be moved on next year if he has a season this year like he had last year. I don't think he's going to have as poor of a season this year as he did last year. The only reason for that is because we have such a good coach. And if he does have as poor of a season this year as he did last year, then that is down to the coach, you know. So let's see what happens. I don't think Rashford's going to go. I think it's safe as houses to say that he's going to stay. And I'm glad that he is going to stay. You know, he hasn't ripped up trees over the last maybe 3 or 4 years, but I do think there's a player there that can potentially get his goals. He's not going to be our Cristiano Ronaldo for the next 3 or 4 years and get us back to winning Premier League titles. Absolutely not. But I certainly do think he has a role to play. Let's see what you're saying here, guys. Plenty of people in on YouTube and TikTok. Great to see so many people in as well. Please smash a like on the video, by the way, guys, if you haven't done so already. Hit the thumbs up button on YouTube if you're watching along. And anyone on TikTok, please tap the screen for us there as well. It helps out the channel an awful lot. CDE says, anybody that wants to leave, we should let them go. Well, I agree with you there 100%, CDE, but does he want to go? I don't know. We have to take all of these reports. And look, I put up TikToks and I put up Manchester United news. I'm only reporting maybe on what other maybe outlets are saying. So we don't really know, does he want to leave? He could be angling for a new contract. I don't think he deserves a new one. Anyway, I think he should just stay put his head down, work hard, and see what happens next summer. Eagle says, Fabrizio already said Ten Hag doesn't want Rashford to leave. Absolutely there, Eagle. I agree with you there, 100%. Chris says, let him go. If he doesn't want to be here, then let him go. Eagle says, before we let Rashford go, who's going to replace him? Exactly, Eagle. And that's if we got Anthony in, and we got Gakpo, and we got Sesko, for example, and then Rashford angled to leave, I would say, okay, well, we have a bit of cover there, so look, I'm happy enough with that, you know. So let's see what happens. But the fact that we haven't got these players in the door, I'm saying, hold on a minute. We can't get signings in the door. We haven't signed anyone. And now you want to let one of our most established players leave? And by his most established, I mean longevity. Doesn't mean he's good enough to be in the squad. But that's down to him and his performances. So I don't think we can let him go until at least we get a replacement. Chris says, Gakpo. Eagle says, we don't have them, so we can't sell them. Absolutely. And Steve says, he doesn't deserve a new contract. He should focus on his football. I absolutely agree with you, Steve, there, 100%. And we seen, look, I like Bruno Fernandes, okay? He got a new contract a few months back. On the basis of what? On the basis of what, really? I mean, he was very poor last season. Now, his first 18 months with Manchester United, he absolutely burned it up. He really did. And that's the potential that he has. Okay? But if you're giving someone a new contract, you're giving it on the basis of your performances more than anything else. But this goes all the way back to the Glazers. And it goes all the way back to Manchester United are giving players new contracts on the basis of their marketability. How many followers do they have on social media? How many shirts can we sell? You know, how can we use their name to make us more money? And that's not how it works. And it goes back to what we said, and I mentioned it in my match preview. If you go back and watch it, it went live at 2 o'clock today. Go back and have a look at it. I said that the Glazers work from the top down rather than the bottom up. So the bottom up is if you want your club to make more money and to be more established within world football, you get results on the pitch first and everything else falls into place. More results, more points on the board, better league position, Champions League football, more revenue, more TV deals, more sponsorship. It all comes from results on the pitch. Whereas the Glazers have a bottom-down approach. Let's sign Paul Pogba. Let's sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's get 12 months of shirt sales and hope we get into the Champions League of top 4 and get the money that way. And that's what they're doing. And that's wrong. It's the wrong football model. It really is. And Ralph Rangnick said it. In fairness to Ralph Rangnick, and again, going back to anyone who's watching my content, I was devastated when Rangnick left, because Rangnick basically came out and said that Manchester United need 10 players, 8, 9, 10 players, but it doesn't need to take 2, 3, 4 years to be challenging again. You find the diamonds in the rough and you work on them hard on the training ground. You establish them as first team footballers. You progress them then and turn them into world class players. And he done that with the Red Bull franchise, with Leipzig and RB Salzburg. He done all of that. And their whole football model was get these diamonds in the rough, these young players who are looking to make a name for themselves, get them in early on the cheap, develop them as footballers and sell them then at a massive profit. Now, if you get Manchester United, you get these diamonds in the rough that Rangnick could have done, get them in, develop them, turn them into world-class footballers, but you don't have to sell them because it's Manchester United. And that's the difference. And I think that's the big fault that Manchester United had by letting Rangnick go. I really do. CD says his people are trying to gain leverage and upper hand in the future negotiations. I agree there. We're talking about Rashford. Absolutely. Chris says, well, he's not a striker. I don't think he is a striker, Chris. I agree with you. Rashford's main skill is his speed. Yep, absolutely. He's a winger, says Chris. Rashford is not a goal scorer. Rashford came up from the academy as a striker, says Eagle. He did. But that doesn't, going from the academy into the first team, there's a huge difference. There really is. There's a massive difference there. And it doesn't necessarily mean that if you come up as a striker with the underage, and even to local level, and I'm giving you, say, and anyone that's watching, I'm nowhere near an expert in relation to football in any way. I always give my opinion. And I've played local level football for 25 years. And there's a lot of guys that were, I'm 6'7", I'm very small. And there's a lot of guys that were a lot better than me when they were 14 and 15 because they were that height. But eventually, time will catch up on you. And a lot of clubs will say, you look at, and I will always go back and say the same thing. Look at the greatest players of all time, okay? How big were they? The greatest players in history, Lionel Messi, tiny. George Best, tiny. Cruyff, not huge. Okay, we have Ronaldo, over 6 foot. The majority of Maradona, Pele, all of these players were all below 6 foot. Quality players. So it doesn't mean that just because you don't have height, you're not a good player. And that goes back to a lot of the arguments that we had with maybe Martinez signing for Manchester United. And there was a lot of opposition fans saying, he's only 5'9", and you're going to play him centre back. What are you on about? But the majority of, the modern game now, 97% of it is played on the floor. And if you look at last week against Brighton, Martinez had more headers won than Maguire did. So look, there's pros and cons to everything. That's all I'm saying. There's pros and cons to everything. Let's see what people are saying here. Chris says, I would give him another season, but he needs to step up. Absolutely, we're talking about Rashford there. I have a friend with biggest agenda against Bruno. If Bruno scored a hat-trick, he'd still be mad. Well, look, I think Bruno has all the potential in the world. He needs to be consistent, and he needs to stop being as petulant as he is, I think, as well. Throwing his hands up in the air, concentrating on his game, doing the simple thing. And I think Ten Hag knows that well. And I think that's why we went out and got Eriksen. And I think Eriksen is in there, and he will do what Ten Hag tells him. You can see it straight away. Eriksen does the simple thing. He was probably our best player against Brighton. And why? Because he'd done the simple thing. He got his foot in the ball. He passed it to someone else. He didn't give it away. He was composed on the ball. But Manchester United, it goes back to what happened last year. For the first 10 minutes against Brighton, we were quite good. We were on the front foot. We were attacking. But when Brighton eventually quelled the storm, they settled in. They got their shape. They went back against Manchester United. And Manchester United kind of lost their confidence. And when they lost their confidence, bang, hit the default button. Let's go back to what we done last year. Hit the ball. And I think a lot of I think it's so obvious to see when you look at the first maybe 10 or 15 minutes of the Brighton game, every time David De Gea got the ball at his feet, he looked to give it short. He looked to give it to Delors. He looked to give it to Shaw or Martinez or Maguire. After about 15 or 20 minutes, Brighton eventually got their foothold in the game. They pressed us high. What happened? David De Gea went long. He started going long. And that's the difference. United don't have the composure to do it under pressure. And I think that's why we need new signings. I really do. Twig says, what do you think about Rabiot? Yeah, I'm going to get into Rabiot now in a moment. Alan says he has huge ego. That's probably about Rabiot. I give Rashford till January, says Twigs. I give him another season, but he needs to step up, says Chris. I have a friend. Yeah, we read that one already. Sharmar's in. Good to see you, man. Ranić proved himself in a Farmers League. Went to United, bought out the worst players in Bruno and got sacked. 6'7". 6'7" is not small. Sorry, if I said 6'7", I meant 5'7". I am not 6'7". Look at the size of me. Look, I'm tiny. But anyway, nice haircut, man. Says Party Pooper. Yeah, got a fresh fade the other day, guys. What do you think? Anyway, happy days. Let's see what people are saying here on TikTok. Great to see so many people in. Please smash a like on the video as well, guys, if you haven't done so already. Keep tapping that screen for me. Greg says, what do you think of the chances are of Ronaldo leaving United? To be honest with you, Greg, I think we're getting to the stage now where he's staying. I really do think he's going to stay. And the only reason I do think that is because no one's going to come in for him. Now, unless, you're always going to have a deadline day scenario where, Chelsea could come in and offer a bag load of money. I don't think United are going to sell to a rival. But if someone like Atletico Madrid come in, or Napoli come in, or Sporting Lisbon, for example, there's been reports of that as well. The one thing I don't want to happen, if Ronaldo leaves, and anyone who's watching me again over the last few weeks and months will know that I'm quite comfortable with Ronaldo leaving if he does decide to leave, because I'm talking about a long-term goal with Ten Hag, and if Ten Hag can, be given the time to form the squad into the squad that he wants, at max we have Ronaldo for one more season. So if he decides to leave this summer, then okay, let him go. I'm happy with him to go. I really am. Because I'm thinking 2, 3, 4 years down the line. Now, it's going to be tough. And we seen last week against Brighton that Manchester United are not going to come out of the blocks this year and get rid of last season and automatically start challenging for top 4. We need more signings before the end of the transfer window. But, and it goes back to what I've said a lot about the likes of Frankie de Jong. A lot of people have been saying, cut ties, get rid, don't want Frankie de Jong, it's dragging on too long. And I've always tried to keep my composure and say, okay, if we get Frankie de Jong this week, or we get him on deadline day, over the next 5 years, would you really care that there was 3 weeks in the difference? I certainly wouldn't. Would you? And I think it would be hard to find any Manchester United fan that would really give a shit if Frankie de Jong was signed at the start of the transfer window or on deadline day, because of his quality and because we can build a team around him. And I think that's what Manchester United fans need to get into their head. And I know there's a lot of external things going on with Glazers out, and I'm all on side with all of that, and I really am. But I'm talking what we can control and what the manager can control. If he can get Frankie de Jong at the first day of the transfer window or on deadline day, who gives a fuck? As long as we get him. Because getting him into our team is all that matters. Now we might not get him. He might go to Chelsea. And if he does, I'll be devastated. I really will. I'm still holding on around 80-85% that we're going to get Frankie de Jong because of the Ten Hag pull over Champions League pull. But I still think that we need to get to that phase where we're patient with what happens, and we look at, and let's get on to Rabiot. There's a lot of people, asking about Rabiot here, and right, look, Rabiot, in my eyes, is a very good player. Okay, he is a very good player. Let's call a spade here. He is a very good player. Okay, but he brings a lot of baggage with him. Okay, there's been numerous accounts of him falling out with managers, not putting it in training, being late to training and games, and all of this kind of crack. Okay, let me say this to you. Okay, and for anyone that's in the chat and anyone that's watching on YouTube, let's rewind to 1992, summer of 1992. Okay, Manchester United got a phone call from the Leeds United chairman asking Martin Edwards, could they sign Dennis Irwin? And Martin Edwards basically said, absolutely not. He's not for sale. Okay, that's no problem. And just before he hung up, Martin Edwards goes, actually, before you go, is there any chance of us signing Eric Cantona? And he said, absolutely, you can have him. And Martin Edwards said, we'll give you $1 million. And they said, no, we can't let him go for $1 million. It has to be 1.3. And basically, Manchester United paid 1.3 for Eric Cantona. And, they paid $1 million. Apologies. They paid $1 million. But Leeds wanted to announce that they paid 1.3 because their fans would go mental. And Martin Edwards said, you can say what you want. We want him. And exactly that then, Manchester United signed Eric Cantona, and the rest is history. The rest is history. Now, please don't get me wrong here. I am not trying to compare Rabiot with Eric Cantona in any way, shape or form. Okay? I'm just trying to put into context who we're signing and what we could potentially sign. Okay? If we can sign the likes of Rabiot, okay, he's got a lot of baggage, but he's a good player. Okay? Is he better than what we have already in midfield? You can fucking bet your bottom dollar he is. Absolutely. Now, Manchester United, and anyone that has been watching me before can realise what I've said before. It's stepping stones, right? It's very hard to sign that one player that will take you to a league title when we've ended up in 6th last year. So we need to make steps, right? Now, can we sign Rabiot? Can we sign, obviously Sesko is gone. Can we sign Gakpo? These kind of players. Can they get us to top 4? Okay? We have to take a chance on these kind of players. All right? And if they do get us to top 4, then great. Then we have a platform to go and get tier 1 players. The likes of Nkunku. The likes of whoever else you want to talk about. But Manchester United are not in a position now to sign tier 1 players. If we get Frankie de Jong, it is literally going to be the biggest coup in history. The chap is on close to 500 grand a week at Barcelona. And if Manchester United get him, not being in the Champions League, it's going to be an unbelievable coup. I still think we're going to get him. But that's what I'm talking about. We need to layer our expectations. We need to say, okay, we'll sign this player now. Next season, then we can go here, we can go there, blah, blah, blah. The one thing I'm worried about is that let's not sign these players on long-term contracts on massive money. And I think that's why the likes of the Rabiot deal has dragged on for so long. He wants 10 million a year. And Manchester United are saying, you can fucking jog on, son. You can jog on. You're not getting 10 million a year off us. And I think 5 years ago, we would have given him that money. And I think that's why I have to commend the board at the moment. And I know John Murta is in Turin at the moment negotiating. And look, let's see what happens. We may give him big money. I would be saying, give him a 2-year contract with the potential of United always have an extra year. Give him that, and then after that, let's give him 100 grand a week. And if you hit certain stats, then year 2, your wages will be upped. It's very fucking easy done. And I think that's what we need to do, because it makes players come in and it makes them want and need to play well. Because if they don't, then bye-bye. You're often playing with Napoli or, LA Galaxy or some bollocks like that. And I think that's the key. Anyway, I went rambling. Let's see what people are saying here. Party Pooper says, is Frankie that good though? I think he is, man. I really do think he is. He's not getting 400 grand plus a week at Barcelona for not being good. He is quality. He is. He really is. I just looking at some of his, and look, I'm the same as everyone else, and I'm looking at some of his maybe clips and, you know, where he's going and what he's doing and all of that kind of crack, and, you know, how he gets on in games, and every time he gets on the ball, he's looking forward. He's constantly on the half turn. And Paul Scholes said it after the game against Brighton the other day, that and he was talking about Scott McTominay in general. He was saying he never takes the ball on the half turn. He never does. And he's right in what he's saying. Every time McTominay takes the ball off the back four, he's facing the back four. And when you do that, there's only one direction you can go, and that's back towards the back four. Whereas, you know, if you're taking the ball off the defence, that's the way you are. You know, that's the way you are. You're side on all the time. You're saying, right, give it to me. Let's go. Give it to me. Come on. Because you can see that way, and you can always go back to the defence if you want, but you can go forward. In one touch, bang, you're gone. You know, and that's the difference. And I think that's what Frankie de Jong does and will give us if we do sign him. Eagle says, I heard a rumour of swapping Ronaldo for Lozano and pay 20 million. Look, I think that's very thin. I'd be very surprised. Chris says, problem is that we have read that United won't play his deferred salary. Well, look, there's talks about that as well, Chris, and I think United should just pay the 70 million and be done with it and get him in the door, you know. Rabiot had a good season before Allegri got there, said Chris. Yeah, absolutely. Far better than what we have, absolutely. And CDE says, 23 people watching, please hit the thumbs up. Absolutely, guys. If you haven't done so already, please hit the thumbs up button. It helps out the channel an awful lot. I really appreciate it. I'm actually going live after this show, guys. I'm on the United Agenda channel. Now, I'm going to put the link in the chat here as well. So I'd love for you to go over and watch us on that as well. United Agenda, they've had people like Andy Tate on and all that kind of stuff as well. So make sure you go over and watch us there. We're there at 8:30 as well. But absolutely. Alan says, do you think there is still a bad influence in the dressing room? Well, look, Andy, Alan, the one thing I would say about the dressing room is that wins breed confidence. They really do. They breed confidence. Wins do. And the more wins you can get, the more confident people will be, the better atmosphere is in the dressing room. So that's what I would say there. You know, absolutely. Party Booer says, honestly, I'd take anyone instead of McFred. We just need new faces. I agree. Absolutely. I think it's time for them it's time for a new, like James Garner and Donny van de Beek. Get him in. Absolutely get him in. Let's see what people are saying on TikTok here as well. What do you think about Ruben Neves, says Yorter. I think he's a fantastic player. I think Wolves are looking for 80 million for him, so I think it's too much. But I certainly would love him at Manchester United, absolutely. Please smash a like on the video as well, guys. Anyone watching on TikTok, please tap the screen for us. We're only at 3,500 likes there. Let's try to get to maybe 10,000 before we finish. Keep tapping that screen. I really appreciate it. Tom says, would you ever work for the United stand? Look, I mean, if the United stand came calling, I'd gladly do a couple of videos with him, absolutely. But look, we're doing a couple of videos now. I was on Oris Talks Football last night, and when we finish here now, we're going to finish in about 10 or 15 minutes. I'm on the United Agenda as well, so make sure you go over there onto YouTube and watch us. I'm going live there from 8:30. The likes of Andy Tate is there as well, and a couple of the boys from the Stretford Paddock are on as well, so I'm delighted to be involved in that. Make sure you go over and check it out. Top 5 wingers in Premier League history, says user. Oh, jeez, that's a good one. Well, Ronaldo was one, right, because he played as a winger. Top 5, fuck, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? Wingers. Arjen Robben, absolutely. Ryan Giggs, David Beckham, and oh god, let me see. Perez. I'm going to go Perez. I thought he was class. He was silky smooth. As much as I hate him, I thought he was silky smooth. Anyway. Can I join your team, says Willie. There is no team, Willie. It's just me, pal. Let's see what people are saying here. There is no reason we should have paid for Sesko. We will always have to pay more than anyone else. It's United's curse. Yeah, look, I agree. And it's always the case when clubs are trying to get from one tier to the next. You know, and I think that's the problem with United, is that we left it too long in the transfer window to get up to that and get in for them kind of players, that we left it too long. And when we did leave it too long, the likes of Ajax with Anthony are saying, well, hold on, we're 2 weeks out from our transfer window here, or from the start of our season. If you want to get one of our top players, you're going to pay a premium for him. Whereas if we got him at the start of June, you would have got him for 20 million cheaper. And that's the problem. Chris says we need Sesko. Well, Sesko is not coming to Manchester United, Chris. He's gone from... he's staying with RB Salzburg, but he's going to RB Leipzig next summer. The deal is already done. You should be on That's Football with Goldbridge, says Twigs. Well, look, I'll go on. I don't mind, guys. Look, as long as you keep watching, I'm happy. That's the main thing. Thierry Henry, says Dan. Wait, yeah, well, Thierry Henry was a winger, but he was more of a striker. You know what I mean? And it'd be hard to leave him out, but I totally agree with you there, Dan. And Owen says, hi there, why do Man United not try players like Garner, Zidane or Hannibal? Surely they are better than McFred. I agree with you, Owen, absolutely 100%. And if you go back and watch my my match preview, it only went live at 2 o'clock today. You can watch it on the YouTube channel. I've given what I think should start, and not necessarily what is going to start, but I put Garner and Van de Beek as our two midfielders, with Eriksen ahead of him and Bruno on the bench. So I agree with you there, absolutely 100%. Why does it take a week to secure a £19 million signing of Rabiot? Well, the only reason there, Chris, with Rabiot is that he was, and this is what is annoying me about Rabiot. He was holding out for Champions League football. Okay, now you can understand the player doing that, and he basically said, "I want to play Champions League football, but I would agree to come to Manchester United because of their stature." Okay, Monaco were playing PSV in a Champions League qualifier and they lost. And as soon as they lost, it was deal on. But Rabiot came out and said, I don't want to lower my wages from 10 million a year. So basically what Rabiot was saying, I'm happy to come to Manchester United, even though they don't have Champions League football because of their stature, but I'm not willing to lower my wages. Which basically means he's coming for the fucking money. And that's a lot of bollocks. And that's what I'm annoyed about more than anything else. You know, so look, he's better than what we have. He certainly is. But is he coming for the right reasons? I don't think so. Alan says, I really like that Savage lad. So do I. And I think himself and Zidane Iqbal had a very, very good pre-season. Look, we are not at training every day. And Ten Hag is. And I trust Ten Hag if he says, Savage, Iqbal, 1 year loan spell, come back next year ready to go because you're going to start. You know, I'm happy with that. Whatever the manager says, I'm all on board. And there's been a lot of negativity and a lot of spin around, you know, the team not being right last Sunday. And it wasn't right last Sunday. And I think the reason why Ten Hag came out and played the team that he played, I think he said to the players that started the majority of last season, okay, I'm the new manager, you have one chance. Either take it or you're gone. And they didn't take it. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, McTominay, Fred, Rashford, even Sancho to a degree. Game over. Get in Varane, get in Malacia, get in Garner, get in Donny van de Beek, get in Garnacho instead of Rashford. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Chris says, I will lose faith in Ten Hag if De Jong doesn't come and we end up with nothing. I'm never going to lose faith in Ten Hag, Chris. I have to say, and I have to disagree with you on that one. Ten Hag is one of the best up-and-coming coaches in Europe at the moment in time. And if he doesn't succeed, the bulk of that is down to him not getting the players that he wants. That's it. That's basically it. We knew at the end of May, there were 7 players that he wanted. He wanted Anthony, he wanted De Jong, he wanted Timber, he wanted Dumfries, he wanted Nunez, I can't remember the other two. But United have only got one of them players. They've got one of them players. Oh, sorry, Ericsson. Sorry, he wanted Ericsson. Ericsson was the only player that Ten Hag wanted that the board got from him. Outside of that, they didn't get any of them. Nunez obviously went to Liverpool. Dumfries still waiting. Timber staying put. We went for Martinez instead. I still think he's going to be a good player. We went for Malacia, left back, rather than actually going for a right back because we couldn't get it. So I'm not giving out about Ten Hag here now in any way. The board need to back him. They really do need to back him. And I know what you're saying there, Chris, and you're saying there that it's De Jong or nothing. I can understand why it's De Jong or nothing. You know, now United do have backup options. They really do. Milinkovic-Savic obviously has been one that's been linked with, you know, the likes of Neves and so. But the problem is that we've left it too long, you know. And Ten Hag has said it's De Jong I want over anyone else. But the reason why we haven't got De Jong is because of the bullshit between Barcelona and De Jong. And if that wasn't there, we would have either had him already or we would have definitely moved on to other options. But I'm worried now that we've left it too long in the transfer window to go for a Neves, to go for a Tielemans. You know, we're looking at striker options there now. Who do we get? And, you know, Sesko is staying put and this and that. Belotti is on a free. He's sitting around scratching his nuts waiting for someone to come in. Just go and get him. Give him a 12-month contract with the option of a second year. Get him. He'll score goals for you. He will. 100%. Look, I think Ronaldo's going to stay. I do think Ronaldo's going to stay. And I'm happy he is staying. And I've said that before. If he stays, I'm good. If he leaves, I'm good. Long term. We're only going to get one more season out of Ronaldo, so let's enjoy it. He will get his goals. I just think that Ronaldo's game over the next 9 to 10 months is going to change drastically to fit Erik Ten Hag's system. That's what I think. Let's see what people are saying here and take that. Please keep smashing the like button for us as well, guys. Anyone watching on YouTube, we're going to go for another couple of minutes here now before we finish up. Let's see what people are saying here. Gordon says, United fans really struggling with the fact that they have no God-given right to be competing for trophies. Well, Gordon, look, I'd say to you there, and I don't think we're struggling with that fact. And the reason why I don't is that I think... Now, look, I totally get what you're saying there, Gordon, and I do, in a way, agree with you. I think the majority of Manchester United fans, being successful for so long, I think the majority of United fans, especially the older United fans, don't think that we have a God-given right to be challenging for trophies. We don't. And if you talk to any rational United fan, and I hope I fall into that category, I'm obviously going to have a little bit of bias towards my club when I'm doing match predictions and things like that. We are nowhere near challenging for the title. Absolutely nowhere near. You know, we're 3 years minimum from challenging, you know, if Ten Hag gets the right backing. Now, I just don't know how much more I can put up of this. You know, I've been a Manchester United fan since I can remember. The first jersey I had was the 93 jersey with the laces on the chest. I was 4 years of age, you know. My father got me every jersey every year. And when I was old enough to buy my own jerseys, I bought every jersey. And I don't give a fuck if it's the Glazers, if it's Elon Musk, or if the moon owns us. I don't care. I'm going to buy that Manchester United jersey every year. And now that my daughter is a year old, she got last year's jersey. She was only 2 months old. And she's got this year's jersey. And it's just what we do. And it's my family. And my grandfather supported Manchester United because of the likes of the Busby Babes back in the 50s, because there was no league in Ireland and there was no teams in Ireland. So you followed Manchester United, and that's where it's come from. So I totally agree, Gordon, with what you're saying there. We have no God-given right to expect to be challenging for league titles because we're not good enough. But we have a God-given right to expect quality and professionalism out of our owners and out of the people that work for Manchester United. And if we cannot expect that out of our club that we love, then what is the point in supporting it? let's leave it at that. Lads, it's been a great watch along. I really appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. We're doing the live watch along tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon for Brentford versus Manchester United. So please make sure you're liking, following on TikTok. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Anyone that's watching on TikTok, link is on the homepage. We have a podcast as well, guys, that we're after starting. First episode aired last Monday. We're doing it every Monday night. Again, link is on the homepage. Anyone watching on YouTube, QR code is there. You can, let me just put in the I'm just going to put in the link here now so anyone can share. But look, I really appreciate it, guys. Anyone that's watching, apologies if I haven't got to your comments. There's been an awful lot of comments flying in, but please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow with the United watch along. Hopefully we can get a result. If you haven't already done so, please go back and watch the preview that I've done, the match preview between Brighton and Manchester United. It's live on my YouTube channel as well. I've pinned the link tree at the top of the chat there as well, so if you're looking for any of our socials, go and knock it on. Anyone watching on TikTok, hit the homepage. We have a Fantasy Premier League there as well. Please join. But look, lads, it's been great. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you tomorrow night for the watch along. Take care.